June 18th, 2025 was supposed to be a highlight on the WNBA calendar.
I just want to say that Marina Mabrey is a bum.
So Marina Mabrey has responded. The best way to respond is by just laughing about it.
Connecticut Sun versus Indiana Fever, in a high-stakes matchup that promised sparks on the scoreboard. Instead, it exploded into something far more combustible. It began with an eye poke. Yes, an actual eye poke. Delivered by Jacy Sheldon to Caitlin Clark, one of the league's brightest stars.
And then in the third quarter, Sheldon poked her in the eye again. This is something we see all the time. They were on each other. They were talking. It was trashy. The superstar like MJ, unstoppable.
That single act set off a chain reaction of chaos, controversy, and confessions that the WNBA simply can't ignore. By the third quarter, the game had already felt more like a grudge match, with hard screens, trash talk, and each possession charged with tension.
So Marina Mabrey has responded to the to everything that's going on in my opinion, the best way possible.
Then Sheldon's hand darted out and connected with Clark's eye in a slow-motion poke that left everyone frozen. The arena went silent for a beat before erupting in gasps. Clark, never one to mince her response, shoved Sheldon back so hard her feet lifted off the court. Referees convened for nearly 10 minutes, replaying the clip from every angle, then issued a flagrant 1 foul to Sheldon. No ejection, no suspension.
I just want to say that Marina Mabrey is a bum, and I own her. She shoved me like that was going to change the score. Next time, try guarding me instead of throwing tantrums.
But the storm wasn't over. In the fourth quarter, during what should have been a calm dead ball, Mabrey barreled in and body slammed Clark to the hardwood. Technicals rained down on Clark, Mabrey, even Tina Charles, but still no suspensions.
You're never going to survive. You're never going to survive in sport, in the world of sport, especially when your sport is relevant now, in the world of sport and social media.
Fans flooded social media with disbelief. Commentators questioned the officiating, and the phrase "unbelievable" echoed around the league. What started as a marquee matchup had spiraled into something far more explosive, exposing just how thin the line is between competitive fire and outright chaos. While Marina Mabrey and others raced to defend themselves online, Jacy Sheldon simply disappeared from the public eye. No Instagram stories, no cryptic tweets, not even a simple "I'm fine" retweet. Just complete radio silence. As the minutes stretched into hours, social feeds exploded with speculation. Was she too embarrassed to speak after that eye poke went viral, plotting a strategic PR statement, or simply overwhelmed by the torrent of criticism? Podcasters and pundits weighed in, dissecting every possible motive.
Officials give a tech to Sheldon for poking.
Some argued her silence was a tacit admission of guilt, a way to avoid making things worse with poorly chosen words. Others insisted it was a masterstroke of crisis control, but the storm pass, then reemerge on her own terms. Meanwhile, reporters pounded her team's phones, teammates offered mixed signals in private group chats, and fans flooded her mentions with both support and scorn. With every quiet hour, the pressure mounted. When, or if, Jacy Sheldon would finally break her silence and take responsibility for the chaos she helped unleash. Just as the world waited for someone to speak up, Marina Mabrey stormed onto Instagram Live, joined by teammate Sanaya Rivers, and let loose without a filter.
Really don't want this to go to that extreme level where now people are saying just crazy things, because this has been around in the WNBA for a long time. It's a really aggressive sport.
She looked directly into the camera and branded her critics delusional, going on to suggest anyone questioning her actions could use a vacation in a psychiatric ward. With a half smile, she shrugged off calls for an apology. "My only regret is having to defend my teammate in the first place." Then came the kicker. "Damned if I do, damned if I don't." A tagline she repeated as viewers watched in real time. Within minutes, clips of her rant racked up hundreds of thousands of views. Some fans hailed her fierce loyalty and raw honesty as refreshing, proof that she plays with unapologetic passion. Others slammed her tone as over-the-top aggression, arguing it reinforced stereotypes about the league's toughness, tipping into toxicity. Pundits debated whether this show of solidarity strengthened team bonds or deepened the WNBA's PR crisis. Either way, Mabrey's unfiltered defense had set social media ablaze and ensured the controversy wouldn't fade quietly. When the dust settled, the WNBA's official statement arrived, and it sounded more like a shrug than a call to action. Marina Mabrey was slapped with a $400 fine after her technical was upgraded to a flagrant 2. Jacy Sheldon's eye poke remained classified as a flagrant 1, and still, no suspensions, no game day bans, nothing beyond a handful of technicals and a modest fine. Coaches from both teams publicly blasted the discrepancy. How does an eye poke and a full-on body slam carry the same penalty? One veteran coach asked, echoing a sentiment shared by commentators on every network. Analysts wondered if the officiating crew even knew the rulebook, or if they were simply overwhelmed by the intensity on the court. Behind the scenes, players texted each other in disbelief, and social media managers scrambled to spin the narrative. For a league lauded for its player-first initiatives and zero-tolerance campaigns, this half-measure response felt disconnected. It raised the question, was the WNBA more interested in image control than in truly safeguarding its athletes and upholding fair play? Within minutes, Twitter exploded with hashtags like Ban Mabrey and Justice for Clark, racking up tens of thousands of mentions in under an hour. Memes and reaction GIFs flooded feeds, some portraying Clark as the innocent star under siege, others celebrating Sheldon and Mabrey as warriors defending their turf. Even high-profile athletes and influencers weighed in, amplifying the debate. Meanwhile, the WNBA's No Space for Hate campaign, launched only weeks earlier, was ridiculed across posts, with critics calling it tone-deaf in light of the league's lax penalties. Viewers found themselves divided. Sure, basketball is physical, they argued, but deliberate eye pokes and body slams? That crossed a boundary. As the online battle raged, it became clear that fan outrage alone might force the league to revisit its stance. The tipping point arrived only after Twitter feeds overflowed and commentators blasted the WNBA's initial inaction. Under intense scrutiny, the league quietly announced that both Jacy Sheldon and Marina Mabrey would indeed face suspensions. 1 game for Sheldon's flagrant 1 eye poke, 2 games for Mabrey's flagrant 2 body slam. Fans sighed in relief. Finally, some consequence. But the applause was tempered by frustration. This wasn't leadership, it was damage control. Critics pointed out that true accountability should have been automatic, not auctioned off to the highest volume of outrage. Coaches and veteran players lamented that the league's indecision left everyone guessing where the line between hard-nosed defense and dirty play actually lies. Without clear, consistently enforced standards, every hard foul risks becoming a public relations crisis instead of just part of the game. The biggest casualty in this saga? Caitlin Clark herself. After Sheldon's eye poke sidelined her with an irritated eye, she missed 2 full weeks of play, weeks in which arenas that normally sold out in minutes were suddenly only half full. TV viewership dipped by roughly 20%, and WNBA social media engagement saw a noticeable slump as fans lamented the lack of Clark magic. Clark isn't just another star, she's the league's golden ticket. Her electrifying step-back threes and energy-packed presence have driven record attendance. Her last home game drew 15,000 fans, the highest in franchise history, and turned casual viewers into die-hard followers. Even merchandise sales surged whenever her jersey hit the floor, but her absence laid bare a critical vulnerability. When she shines, the entire WNBA ecosystem lights up. When she stumbles, the spotlight reveals deep cracks. Relying on one transcendent talent may yield short-term gains, but it's a precarious strategy. Injuries, controversies, or even just an off night by Clark can send ripple effects through ticket sales, sponsorships, and broadcast ratings. The league needs a constellation of headliners: A'ja Wilson's dominance in the paint, Breanna Stewart's championship pedigree, Sabrina Ionescu's playmaking flair, each backed with marketing muscle equal to Clark's. Build multiple draw cards, and the WNBA won't just survive Clark's next layoff, it'll thrive no matter who's on the court. Now the WNBA stands at a critical junction. Will it learn from this chaos or let it define the league's future? First, officiating must tighten up. Players need crystal clear boundaries. Cross the line and you're ejected. No debates, no 10-minute video reviews that leave everyone frustrated. Stronger, more consistent calls won't dull the game's edge. They'll preserve its integrity and deter dangerous play before it happens. Second, the league must invest in a broader roster of superstars. Caitlin Clark may be the brightest light, but A'ja Wilson's paint domination, Breanna Stewart's killer instincts, Sabrina Ionescu's court vision, and emerging talents like Angel Reese all deserve equal billing. By building a constellation of headliners, each with their own marketing push, the WNBA can fill arenas and screen slots regardless of who's listed in the starting five. Finally, the WNBA needs to balance grit with grace. Physicality fuels highlights, but unchecked brutality fuels backlash. The league's identity should celebrate fierce competition wrapped in respect and sportsmanship, an environment where intensity and integrity go hand in hand. Nail that balance, and the WNBA doesn't just survive controversy, it thrives on the global stage as a model for what professional women's sports can and should be. Conclusion. June 18th wasn't just another game, it was a reckoning. It exposed the WNBA's strengths and its shortcomings in one dramatic night. Now, the choice is clear. Double down on accountability, broaden the spotlight beyond one superstar, and ensure the game remains both fierce and fair. Otherwise, a league built on passion risks losing the very fans it needs to survive.